Security reassurances by governors of the northwest and southwest regions of the country seem not to be enough to curb the growing rate of mass exodus in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. In this newscast, we tell you how travel agencies in Bamenda Northwest region are inundated with passengers. Also ahead, the Presbyterian Secondary School in Douala Littoral region of Cameroon launches a peace crusade, plus health officials in the southwest region converge on Buea to discuss on how to curb maternal mortality, which is said to be on the rise across the national territory. It should be noted that an estimated 6,000 women die annually while giving birth in Cameroon. Those are top stories. We shall be right back. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is 6 p.m. and you're watching the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away in the Douala Free subdivision to take a look at the ordeals of inhabitants in Bangapongo, the lack of adequate medical care equipment or lack of medical equipment and space that are some of the key problems faced by the health center in Bangapongo that is situated in the Douala Free subdivision. It has not been able to meet the needs of the estimated 15,000 inhabitants resident in Bangapongo. Details with Smanjik and Gabriel.
Pungent smell of water coming out from a 2-year-old septic pit and dirt thrown haphazardly in the vicinity. These are some of the secondary problems disturbing the Bangapongo Health Center that is expected to cater for the well-being of an estimated 15,000 inhabitants that make up Bangapongo, a locality found in the Douala 3 subdivision. Apart from this problem, it is more serious because the hospital finds it difficult in delivering women. The maternity has just 2 beds. In the maternity room, we have just 2 beds, one for delivery and another for the doctor to work. When we have many women in labor, we are forced to keep some on the working table. Another major problem is the absence of large space to hospitalize sick persons, as just 4 beds are found in the room. At the admission room, we have just 4 beds with about 15,000 people that make up Bangapongo. It is too small, and at times we double patients on 1 bed and send others home because of the lack of space. The structure that is expected to host the Bangapongo Health Center under construction has been abandoned and some working tools taken away. A clarion call from the inhabitants of Bangapongo to the health minister for an urgent solution to be found to sort out the problems.
And still in health, over 6,000 women die annually in Cameroon during childbirth, and health officials in the southwest region of Cameroon have said that they are worried about the situation. The southwest regional delegate of public health has said that the situation is alarming due to the Anglophone crisis as women deliver under difficult conditions in bushes. Derry Jato has the details in this report.
Maternal mortality is on the rise, and medics say the figures are alarming.
Okay, now it is unacceptable that we still talk about losing 6,000 women a year because of childbirth. It's unacceptable.
At this Southwest Regional Committee meeting taking place in Buea, during which members of the National Multi-Sector Program to combat maternal and child mortality were installed, Dr. Mbome Victonje, Southwest Regional Delegate of Public Health, outlined the strategies his office has put in place to rescue the situation in the region.
And we had picked up one of the strategies for fighting maternal mortality that we want to elaborate on in the Southwest region. And we're talking about family planning.
And call on the population to also assist the health sector.
If you find your neighbor whose child or whose mother is having a pregnancy and you think she's not been to the hospital, remind her that it is necessary.
But fear that if measures are not taken and fast, the case of the Southwest region will keep on worsening by the day because of the current Anglophone crisis. Most women are dying in the bushes while giving birth, and access for doctors into such zones or patients to move out to hospitals, especially in villages, is life-threatening. Reason why the Southwest Regional Delegate of Public Health says he is ready to go into the bushes to save lives if his security will be guaranteed.
If I had the chance, if my safety is guaranteed, I would love to go to the bushes and find out women who are pregnant and give them the right information for the right decisions. But then,
And Lum, in the Mongo Division littoral region of Cameroon, is now hosting scores of families who fled violence. In the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, they have different stories to tell, but religious authorities in Lum of the Mongo Division have said that God alone is the sole guarantor of peace in the country. Details with Innocent Aze.
Few weeks now, the number of English speakers fleeing violence in the respective localities in the northwest and southwest regions continue rising. Receiving destinations have witnessed a sudden population explosion. In the Mongo division of the littoral region, various towns are flooded with anglophones who seek refuge.
C'est chaque jour qu'on accueille les déplacés. Ça veut dire que la situation est grave.
Lum town is now overpopulated, drawing the attention of many.
Il fallait déjà une sensibilisation sur le plan spirituel.
Reason why a crusade to pray for peace in the country has been organized in the Mongo division. It includes administrative authorities, men of God, and those who fear the Savior. Pastor Claude Kalonji, in strong terms, condemns assassinations, violence of all types, and in a nutshell, the Anglophone crisis. He notes that lives of Cameroonians will be useless without peace.
The situation that our country is undergoing needs only God to bring up peace himself. No activity can be possible without which our activities are not possible without peace. Only that peace is the thing that we need in this country today.
To him, the stand of the church is the return of peace.
The responsibility of church is to ask to God to bring peace in his people. So that's why church has organized these days to ask to the God to do his best according to his will to give us peace in this country.
Pascal Zwa, divisional officer for Lum subdivision, pleads on the church to carry its arm, which is prayer for unity and peace, such that the war the nation currently experiences ends.
L'Église en est capable, puisque c'est pas elle, c'est Dieu qui agit.
Prayers intensify in different churches till October 10, 2018, after the presidential election.
What is now forcing the people of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon to leave their homes when local administrative officials are assuring their security? The decisions on recent outings of Governors Bernard Okale-Abilai and Adolphe de l'Afrique of the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon respectively to dissuade the people from seeking refuge in other parts of Cameroon seem insufficient. Travel agencies in Bamenda are still crowded with passengers. The observation was met by a reporter in Bamenda, Stella, who presents the following special package. Her report.
Cameroon has been gripped by violence since November 2016, when the government launched a crackdown on a movement of Anglophone teachers and lawyers, protesting against their perceived marginalization by the country's French-speaking majority. The crisis has further intensified ahead of the October 7 presidential election, with bloody clashes in some localities. The situation, which is further worsened by threats of an impending attack, has forced inhabitants of the northwest to flee to other regions.
As you can see, I'm heading to Douala. There's a lot of threat on social media, a lot of threat everywhere, so we are very, very uncomfortable here in Bamenda.
The way things are, my children cannot go to school here in Bamenda. neither can they go in Bengui because that's where we are coming from. And now we are going to Limbe because we think that there it might be a little bit safer.
In the village, there is no way in the village. She's from Acha, but in Acha you cannot see anybody in the house. Everybody is sleeping in the bush. It's terrible there.
The process of acquiring travel tickets has been described as an uphill task. Although a majority of the population are leaving, fewer persons are making entry into the region. This lady, Equinoxe Television, met at one of the travel agencies in Bamenda, has attested to the fact that home is home.
I'm really frightened, but what will I do? It's my hometown. I cannot run my town. I cannot run my town and go to Yaoundé. There in Yaoundé, when I was in school, it was not easy. It's very difficult. Life is difficult there. Only house rent that I pay for this time is not easy. So I have to come back.
Due to the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country and now the mass exodus, the economy of the region, experts say, is crumbling as most goods get bad even before they reach the markets. This is further evidence in the fact that some business owners have moved their activities to other towns and cities out of the region. In a recent outing on September 14, 2018, Northwest Governor calls on parents to talk their children out of the bushes.
Native and guardian of our children, brothers and sisters who were unfortunately enrolled by secessionist activists are, for God's sake, called upon to do all in their powers to convince their children to come out of the bushes and regain normal life. And to those in the diaspora, the #1 statesman of the region says, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are called upon to desist from manipulating the population and sponsoring socio-economic hardship and illiteracy, but to instead redirect their hard-earned resources to socio-economic development and education, which they themselves benefited from and which has made them the respectable men and women that they are. The governor in his release also assures the population that the state is doing all to ensure their safety. He therefore calls on all to go about their activities normally while remaining law-abiding and to stop listening to calls that only bring hardship.
And on to something else, it should be worthy of notice that officials at the Delegation of Transport in the Northwest have decided to compel the people of the Northwest region of Cameroon to state their travel motives, contacts and destination before leaving the region. The decision, which emerged from a meeting with stakeholders, according to the delegates, seeks to establish the exact cause of the recent mass exodus in the Northwest region of Cameroon. As we can see, those are images of some boarding schools in the Southwest region of Cameroon, which have started sending their students home. Officials of the Presbyterian Girls Secondary School in Limbe and Seka Baptist College called on parents to pick up their kids from school starting today. The students would only have to return to school after the presidential election on the 7th of October 2018. And the Presbyterian Church here in the economic capital Douala is now planning to organize an interdenominational peace walk here in the city of Douala. The announcement was made today during a ceremony at the Presbyterian Secondary School, Bonaberry. The event, which took place few days to the World Peace Day, saw peace crusaders in the Catholic, other denominations and students and school officials exhibiting the importance of peace in Cameroon, whose two regions have so far been hit by armed conflict for more than 1.5 years now. The organizers hold that peace is still possible but cannot be attained without justice. In the following excerpt, we are going to be listening to the principal of PSS Douala and the PCC peace counterpart that was speaking to Equinoxe Television. Take a listen.
Indeed, it's articulated that where there is no justice, there is no peace. And being in a boarding school, we actually discover that if we don't preach peace in a boarding school, the society as a whole becomes useless. We have so many students in the school here, and the message that we are passing to them across is that there should be peace amongst themselves. When there is peace among themselves, even in the dormitory where they are eating, in the dormitory where they are sleeping, you discover that when they go back home, that love that they have gathered in school can help even their parents. When parents are in disunity, children who have been in boarding school can carry the message from peace. So I'm calling on all Cameroonians that we should be peaceful, we should love one another. We know what is happening in the southwest and the northwest region. So we are calling on peace because all we have in life on its essence is vanity.
As you can see for yourself, this school has more than 1,000 students. Then a lot of students have left the northwest and southwest region, and they are now in Douala, particularly in PS and Douala, where we find ourselves. And we believe that most of these students are going through trauma. Most of these students have witnessed very, very sad and bitter experiences through violence that has been exercised in their communities. And if you find them to talk with them, they have stories to tell. So we believe that coming from those from that background and being here in Douala, we can follow them here. It's a sort of like encouraging them, telling them about love and peace. That is part of what has happened. It is a passage in life. They can concentrate and build up their life and also become good citizens tomorrow, so that Cameroon may not go through what we are seeing today again.
A society without war is like a heavenly garden. When love is harvested.
Look at your brother, look at your sister, pleading for oneness. Let us leave our selfishness behind and look forward
here in the city of Douala, heads of gendarmerie and police services of organizations under the African Union are meeting in the city for the first African Union Logistic Command's post-exercise. The exercise, dubbed IMDAT Africa 1, is designed to test African Union mission support processes to plan, rapidly deploy, sustain and liquidate African Union mandated peace support operations. Speaking during today's opening ceremony, the director of the exercise from Uganda, Major General Nakibus Lakara, said that the pre-exercise training phase is complete and that for the operation to fully kick off, there is need to bridge the gap between adequate manpower and the available equipment. Let's hear him in the following excerpt. He was speaking to Innocent Abega.
Indeed, we are gathered here today for the opening ceremony of the logistics exercise codenamed IMDAT Africa 1 2018, with the delivery of strategic deployment stocks at this continental logistics base. And now, the conduct of this exercise here, this, I can comfortably say, is the operationalization of the continental logistics base. The theme of IMDAT Africa 1, CPX 2018, is enhancing the African Union capacities and capabilities to ensure the successful conduct of AU-mandated peace support operations. Arising from those gaps created therefore, we attempted to bridge those gaps with available manpower. Suddenly, IMDAT Africa 1 is not fully manned as we speak. It is therefore imperative that the AU should, as a norm, always have contingency plans to mitigate such challenges.
And now, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has urged motorbike riders in the city of Douala to dismiss all messages intended to provoke violence and destabilize Cameroon. He was speaking to thousands of commercial motorbike riders at the Parkour Vita Sports Complex that was barely a few minutes ago. He called on bike riders to come out en masse on the 7th of October and take part in the presidential election in Cameroon in what looks like campaign before official campaign build for the 24th of September 2018. Paul Atanganji told the bike riders that Paul Biya is the only person worth risking for and that he is the only one capable of bringing peace, stability and growth in the country. Let's hear him in the following excerpt. The excerpt of Minister Paul Atanganji that we certainly would be having in a subsequent newscast. They're bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Stay with us. We thank you once again for joining us. We have been joined by a supporter of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party. Good evening to you, Ms. Michèle NDOKI. Thank you for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening, Mrs. Mayfo.
We should be thanking you for coming. Our principal topic tonight is, of course, the upcoming presidential election in Cameroon,
Yes.
and the Cameroon Renaissance movement that is mobilizing and intensifying campaigns across the national territory. But the latest happening is in Bamenda, where we've seen this decision by the delegation of transport, indicating that those who have to leave the northwest region of Cameroon must justify their reasons where they are actually going to and present their contacts. What is your reaction to that? Besides being a CRM party supporter, you are equally a legal mind.
My first reaction to that is a reaction as a mother, as a Cameroonian, and as a lawyer. Yes, and it is one of being really shocked, because this is an extremely serious violation of our constitutional rights to move around in the country, and that a delegate would take the responsibility of restricting free movement in an area, in a region in the country, without any legal ground, is something that I hope will continue to be shocked. Of course, what is happening in the northwest region and what is happening in the southwest region is very. We lose people, and I'm sure as a person you've lost relatives, a lot of relatives in the past few months or in the past year. But we must continue to say that is not acceptable, and we must not kind of get used to abnormality. This is not normal, and somebody we cannot stress enough, we cannot be loud enough in saying this is not normal and
apart from being abnormal, is it a legal move?
No, of course it's not.
Even it's an administrative decision.
It's not, because there's no reason why, there's no legal ground. There's only one reason I could think of as a lawyer why people's movement will be restricted, and you will have to justify why you are going from a town to another in your own country, and it will be the state of emergency that will be proclaimed by the head of states. Last time, it's not the case in this particular instance.
But the government would argue that in case of in conflict-hit regions like the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon, at certain point in time, certain measures have to be put in place to guarantee safety of persons and properties.
Of course, and we're not challenging the fact that some measure could be taken in some circumstances. What we are challenging now is who is taking the decision and on what ground. If this is to tell Cameroonians that there is a reason to declare the state of emergency in our country, then let the person who is in charge of doing that do that. But we cannot accept to see people without the legal authority to make this kind of decision. All of a sudden, one day, say, before you move, you have to tell me why, and if I think the reason is not valid, then you are not allowed to move. This is illegal, and this is a very intolerable violation of Cameroonians' fundamental and constitutional rights, and it has to be this decision. The government, as you're saying, should see to it that this decision is annulled.
This is just a presentation of the situation in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon, and in the heart of an electoral year. We are just few days to
that is the
7th of October presidential election in Cameroon. We heard the president of the Cameroon Renaissance movement yesterday indicating that he would have loved to go to the northwest and the southwest and explain to the people his political, economic and social programs. But he cannot because of the security situation.
Yes.
Tell us, will the CRM be going to the two completed regions?
The CRM will go. If the CPDM is going, we will do the same. We will go. Everywhere the CPDM thinks they have the means to get Cameroonians to understand and to listen to what we have to propose, then we will follow. And it is true, what is happening in Southwest and Northwest is really a source of sadness and concern. But again, it raises the question how responsible it is today to say we can have fair and transparent elections in the whole of our territory.
And it is worried about the results of the election.
Of course we are worried. When you hear that we went from 1,700 polling station to 228, meaning hundreds of thousands of people will not be allowed to express their view about who should be the president of the republic. Of course we are concerned. Of course we think there's something going wrong. The issue, I think, is there's no way for the current president to extend his mandate. And this is the reason why maybe it is necessary to organize the election despite the situation. But then he has to be responsible as a person, as a Cameroonian citizen. Either he considers that we can have fair and transparent election and then let's go for it, and then let's not have decisions as what we've seen in the Northwest region, and let people move around peacefully, or he considers it's not possible.
Are you certain that,
but
because that has always been the worry of opposition leaders in Cameroon about transparency of election in the country?
Of course. Then we need to do our own bit to ensure it is transparent. We are doing that in the CRM at the moment. We are having thousands of Cameroonians volunteering to help us supervise the vote, and I think this will help. This will help Cameroonians going to vote, and Cameroonians checking what is being done and checking that the law, as bad as it is respected, will help us go through this. One thing for sure, we need to change. If the current president of the republic will not listen to his people, then we need to change that president. And we need to find a way to change that president. Elections is one way. We can go for it because it is now in something like 2 weeks, a bit more than 2 weeks. And we will have another person on seat to be able to tackle that issue and to make sure that we don't have children dying for no reason in our country.
The question of opposition coalition, we saw the CRM unveiling its allies, that was yesterday, but many expected they come together of some of
yes, and we did expect the same. We did expect.
Were you disappointed?
We were a bit saddened, but actually the most important thing is you can see people coming together. It's not about the political parties, it's really about the people, and this is what is comforting us in what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Michèle.
Thank you for inviting me
tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again. Thank you so much for your time. To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed day in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.